want to keep it blue so it sort of blends in with our sort of info board that appears over here, and maybe even give it a white stroke. That could work out quite well. A nice white stroke, and I'm trying to just find something that is a little bit different but still works with what we're trying to achieve. I wouldn't go for a dash. I think I'm just going to leave it as a normal solid stroke for now. Maybe we can just decrease this to like 0.5. So it's just a nice thin sort of stroke. You can still see that it does belong here. So that's perfectly fine, that's all good. I'm going to move back to my Essentials workspace, but before that I want to just make sure that I'm on the normal rollover state for our button. So whichever state you leave it on over here, that's where it will remain when you preview. So just to always make sure that you click normal state before you start saving out your work. I'm going to go to my Essentials tab again. So the one thing I'm not a huge fan of is I don't want this little info chart to cover the days, the name of the days. So for now I think this is pretty much fine. All I want to do is to bring in the image that we just cropped inside of Photoshop. So I'm just going to say place, make sure nothing is selected. I'm going to go place, and I want to look for our image, and we're going to open up the Photoshop file directly. I'm not exactly sure how big this image is going to be, so we're probably going to have to rescale it. Yep, definitely going to have to resize and rescale. So again, just holding down shift to resize, and then I'm going to just make sure that our image is placed inside of the frame, and I want to bring this in over here. So again, just resizing and resizing our image. Make sure that everything fits quite well. So now we have our image. We can actually make this slightly shorter, but I'm going to tackle that. I wonder if I employ, you know what could actually work much better? What could work much better is I'm just going to delete this image for now. Go to my ellipse tool. I want to make a nice ellipse. Just for now I want to give it a color, just so we can see how it fits. So something along the lines of this. We can actually make it slightly bigger, maybe like that. We can make it as big as this. What I'm actually thinking now, what could be quite nice in terms of design, I want to shrink this slightly so it's in line over there, and then I also want to drag this in just so that it fills the gap, so we can have our image placed over here in the ellipse, and we can have our rectangle sort of display the information. That way it's nothing that's too big, doesn't take up too much space, and I think it'll still do the job quite well. Okay, so while we're here, I just want to remove the fill. So I'm going to get rid of the fill. Make sure that's selected. I'm going to go again, File, Place, and go find our Photoshop file, our Photoshop image. We're placing it inside. Obviously, it's massive again, so we are just scaling completely. Make sure that everything fits. Again, I'm holding down Shift to ensure that I'm scaling uniformly. And we're just going to try and fill up this ellipse. And a bit more down over here on the side. And that seems quite alright. Press W. So now we can see that we have our blue. I think that's actually, I can make this a bit lighter, but I think that's fine. So we have our blue sort of infographic pop up over here. We have the image of the individual. I just want to write down the person's name as well as just their birth date. So all I want to do now, I'm going to go out of my preview mode. I would like to add some text. I'm just going to put some text over here for now. I just want to make sure I'm spelling his name correctly. So I'm just going to copy that into my text, Control V to paste. I'm going to find a font. So I'm either going to stick with the, go all the way up. I'm either going to stick with this Libre Baskerville, or I might choose Able. I think Able works quite nicely. It sort of fits with this theme, and then it sort of distinguishes between the font used for our days as well as the font used for the individual. So I think Able is going to be quite a nice choice. I just want to change these to capitals, and I'm sure the JR is also in capital. Okay, bring that onto our spacing over here, and then I want to just give this a white color, nice white color. I will work out the spacing now, and then I just want to duplicate this, and I just want to type here or actually let me rather just see if there's something interesting. Let's see if there's a quote we can pull from him. Okay, cool, taking this quote. So copying that quote over, and I just want to make sure that everything will fit, so I'm just putting a really small font size for now, and I'm just going to say paste, select it all, and we can increase it over here. And for this, maybe we go with the Baskerville. That could be kind of interesting. A little bit of a cursive type of font for his little quote. Maybe just testing things out. I think that works out quite okay. Just change a few things over here. Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. That's a nice. Oh, damn. Excuse me. Mistake there. Okay, so all I want to do is I want to give it a bit of maybe a darker blue. I might just stick with the white. I'm not sure yet, but let's just play around. So if we go here to this, I just want to see if I can bring more of a blue in. And that could work out quite nicely. So you have your person's name and a quote from them. You know it's their birthday. That's on the 4th. So that's kind of interesting. That's pretty cool. I'm liking how that looks. I want to see if I can bring in a stroke and what that would look like. Let's make it white. Yeah, I'm quite a fan of how this is turning out. That's quite nice and stylized. I think it sort of suits the theme. Going and sticking with the circles over here, white circle over here, giving it a sort of a stroke. So all I want to do is just play around with the alignment over here a little bit more. Make sure that these two are in line. Keep it like this. I'm going to add a small little thin stroke over there. I just want to make sure that everything is sort of in the center, more or less. I'm going to grab my rectangle tool, the rectangle tool. I just want it super thin, super thin line. See if I can shrink this a bit more. No, not really, but what I can do, I'm going to make this white. Yes, I want to just drop the opacity of this so that it's very subtle, maybe something like 25%. Also just want to round it off. I'll make sure it's not overlapping the Y. We're sort of at the same sort of spacing between everything. I want to try and keep it in line with the text itself, so there we go, that's in line there. And I just want to stretch this out a little bit further. So now we have something like that. Robert Downing Jr., there's a quote from him, got his image, got the 4th over here. So the only thing that we are currently missing is a little minus icon, something that we can just click that will indicate that we can close this option out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a normal circle, just something very plain and simple. So just a smallish circle. I want to bring the circle over here, and I just want to give it a color so I can see exactly where it is. Oop, wrong. Nope, not like that. Okay, gonna make the circle again. So I'm going to go out of my preview mode so I can see exactly where I'm actually drawing the circle. So let me just draw it over here, something that's around about that size. Again, I just want to make it a color so I can see exactly how I'm working with it. I want to make the circle even smaller. I'll make sure it's in line with the 4 and sort of see if I can get the same distancing around over here. That seems kind of okay. Might just bring it down one more. So that seems quite nice, or that positioning rather. All I want to be changing now is I'm going to go into my interactive PDF now. I'm going to start adding all these interactive elements. I want this orange to be placed over here on the circle, so I just want to get this orange color, make sure that it's part of my swatches. So I'm just going to say add to swatches again, just in case. I'm going to select my orange button, and I just want to go to color, go to my swatches, and select the orange color. So it was part of my swatches already, but that's fine. And I want to make sure that the state of this is normal, so that's absolutely fine. Okay, cool. So right now at this point, what I want to do is I'm going to be grouping everything over here. So this, everything that's going to pop up, other than this little close button of mine. So first of all, it's the image, it's the background, it's the title Robert Downing Jr. Before I select the title, I want to select the little rectangle, then the title, then the quote, and make sure I'm in my essentials tab so I can group everything together. I'm going to group all of that together. I want to make sure that my button is in front, because as soon as I grouped it, you saw everything came to the front. Make sure my button's in front, make sure my little off switch is also in front, and this is all acting as one unit, and this is by itself. So now we have all of our elements set up quite nicely. We're going to go to interactive PDF view. This is a button, that is still fine, it's a birthday button. This huge infograph, I'm going to make a button as well. By the name, I'm changing it to info, just so I know that's the info part that's going to pop up. I'm going to make it on click. The rollover state, normal click, that's all going to be the same. And then just over here for our little close button, I'm going to make it a button. I'm going to rename it to close button, and this will also be on click. And the rollover state and the click function should be the same, just so to indicate that it is actually a button. I think for the rollover state, what I'm going to do is just lighten up the color slightly, more of a yellowish orange. And for the click state, I'm going to use the same yellow orange color. So I'm going to add that to my swatches, say okay, go to the click state, not double click the color. I'm going to go to my color, go to the swatches, and select the lighter color. So now by my buttons I have the normal color, which is orange, the rollover, which is a lighter yellow orange, and then the click, which is also a lighter orange. So now we can start adding everything. So everything is now a button. I have my birthday button, I have my info button, and I have my close button. So my birthday button, I need to add an action to it. So make sure this is on click. The action that I wanted to have is to show and hide buttons and forms. So that's perfect. It's going to show and hide buttons and forms, and my 3 buttons that I created are right here. So my birthday button, which is the one I'm working with, nothing should apply to it. I wanted to show my info button, and I wanted to show my close button. So it's going to show this big info tab, and it's going to show my close button, and that's perfectly fine. Now this button is sorted out. For our big info button, this button has no action. It simply appears when I click the number 4, and it must go away when I click the orange button. So for now I want to check the hidden until triggered, so that it's invisible until I select the number 4, and that's absolutely fine, nothing else to add there. And for the close button, I need to add an action to it, and that's going to be to hide and show buttons and forms. So I needed to not pay attention to the birthday button. The birthday button must always be there, that's fine. For the info button, this big infographic, I needed to make it invisible, so that's the eye with the line through it. And for the close button, I needed to make it invisible as well. I am also going to check the hidden until triggered, so it will only appear once I select the number 4 button. As you can see by the number 4 button, it will make the info and the close button appear. So right now we're going to just test it out. I'm going to go to the preview in EPUB. Just give it some time. Sometimes it does take a while, especially if there's more than just buttons on here. And you can see, hopefully, I'm going to see if I can just make this slightly bigger. Okay, so we have our graphic over here. I don't know why this looks like this. I have to just double check it. We have our graphic over here, 4th of April, and over here by the Saturday on the 4th. If I hover over it, you can see it turns orange, and once I click, you can see that it's Robert Downey Jr.'s birthday. There's a quote from him, and there's a little orange button which you can click that closes it off, and that's how we make sort of an interactive calendar / PDF. I'm not entirely sure why this changed, but we'll double check all this moving into the when we start to export it. So another thing that I also just want to try out with regards to animation and buttons, I want this number 4 and this April, I want to add some animation to them. So that's number 4, yes, preset. I would like this to I'm going to say fly in from the right hand side. And before anything, I'm going to struggle to try and get this correct. Okay, perfect. I double clicked it and it seemed like it was working quite fine. So I want it to come in from the margin to its current position now. So it's flying from the right. On page load, yes. 1 second, that's fine. The speed from the preset, I want to have a easy ease in. So I want it to start off fast and end slowly. Easy ease in. Animate to current location, that's fine. It's going to fade in, that's perfect. And I want to do the same thing for the April. So for the April, my preset, I want it to fly in from the left this time. Fly in from the left. On page load, yes, on page load. Again, I'm going to struggle with this quickly. So I just want to double click that. Let's see if it works. Okay, it works. So I double clicked it. I moved the green circle part of the animation trail. So it will start over here, it will end over here. I then also want the speed to be easy ease out, so it can start off, let me rather say easy ease in, so it can start off fast and end slowly. The current location, that is fine, that is fine, that is all fine. So I think now we are just going to double check this in the EPUB. So the April doesn't want to appear for some reason, but the 4 appears, which is interesting. Maybe I must just try a fade in. Maybe a fade in would work quite well. And let's just try for the number 4 as well, just a fade in. Let's see how that looks. See, and it's very weird for me that they don't want to fade in at the same time. I'm not sure why it is like that. But what I'm going to do for now, just to sort of fix that issue, I'm just going to remove the animation from both of them. I'm then going to select both the 4 and the April, and I just want to right click, group them, and if I select this group now, the group is selected, I want them to fade in, and I want to play that, so now they should fade in at the same time. There we go. Okay, so that's one way to sort of get around this. And once we are done now, I just want to save it. So I just want to say File and Save As, Interactive Calendar, Interactive, and I want to save. And it should be fine. And then I also want to export, so I'm going to go to export, and over here by the save type I want to go to the Adobe PDF Interactive. This is what I want to save it as. I'm going to say save, all pages, yes, that is fine, viewing default, layout default, so I'm just going to say single page, it's only one page, and I want to say actual size, foot page, let's stick with actual size because we do have a specific dimension for this. Yes, that is fine. Page transition, so if you had multiple pages and every time someone went from one page to the next page, you could decide how that page animation would be, but we only have one animation, one page. The compression, JPEG quality, I just want to go to maximum. The resolution will stay at 72 because this is not something that will get printed. I'm going to leave that quality like that. Yes, that is fine. And security, so you can also add a document password which you need to type in order to view this, but for now we are not going to focus on that. So yes, that's cool, that's fine. It's just going to be generating, and can have a look at our PDF. Now this image is quite fuzzy, so I'm just going to try and see if I can fix that, but with regards to our buttons, they work quite well. I don't know why these images are fuzzy, and that is not working now. Lovely. View. Let's try this again. Export, interactive PDF. Title this 2. Save. Just keep that on default. Single page, that's fine. Presentation opening full screen mode. Quality maximum. Just for interest sake, let's see. Okay, let's see. Okay, much better in terms of quality. Yeah, 100% better in terms of quality. And I just want to double check my buttons because I noticed. There we go, perfect. Okay, so there we go. That's how we made our calendar. That's how we made our calendar. There's just one other thing I want to double check. I noticed that this animation of the fade in was not playing, so I just want to export one more time and just double check this. Make that interactive 3, save. And keep that on default. Full screen mode. That's fine. That. Just out of curiosity, I just want to double check and see why the fall and the April are not faded. Do not fade in. Maybe it's because the document just takes a while to load. I'm not sure about that, but the main sort of focus is going to be on the button. So we can see as our nice little calendar, can go to the 4th of April, and it's Robert Downing Jr.'s birthday, and there's a little quote from him, and then you can close. So that's a nice way to have an interactive sort of calendar. You can populate it with whatever you'd like to. Our effects pulled through quite nicely, and we changed the settings for our images. Okay, awesome. I hope this tutorial makes a lot of sense. I know it's quite a bit to follow, especially with the interactivity, but once you get the hang of it, it's not that hard. So this is going to be an activity as well. We've already made the calendar, so it'll just be now to create a button. So you can use the same example as me and do the 4th and do Robert Downing Jr., or you can add whichever other birthday you find in April or any other event or public holiday. It doesn't really matter. So you need to make a button with a rollover state, have some sort of infographic appear, and then have a close button. So obviously you can get rid of it, because if you just click this and have it open, it's very annoying to not be able to close it. The animation doesn't seem to be appearing now, but I think it's because it takes a while for the page to load, so that could be the problem. But yeah, this is what interactivity looks like in regards to InDesign. Hope this made sense. Hope this helped out quite a bit. And yeah, I'm assuming I'm going to break this up into 2 different sessions because this is quite long. But yeah, peace.